So on June 1st, we all know that this Pentagon report is due, right? And it's supposed to be a report of everything that the Pentagon, CIA, the general intelligence community has on UFOs, the classified stuff. And it's basically a report on what they know about it. And they're supposed to draw conclusions based on what they know about it, which is the interesting bit. They're not going to declassify a load of information. They're not going to dump a load of files on us. They're going to give us a report, or no, they're going to give a committee, the Defense Intelligence Committee, a report based on what they know and what is classified. There's no guarantees that we're necessarily going to see that report, but I think with the amount of mainstream media interest there is in this, and that's one quick reason why we're going to do this video, that Christopher Mellon has been on Tucker Carlson talking about this, who was a former defense official. Not Tucker Carlson. Tucker Carlson is an idiot on Fox News. Christopher Mellon is a former defense official. I don't normally take any notice of Fox News, but they are actually really getting behind this June 1st date and reporting on it a lot.
Which makes me concerned, because Fox News aren't normally known for their in-depth reporting of, accurate events, honesty, or being interested in, well, what would be considered conspiracy theory. Yeah. I don't know.
Tucker Carlson's talked about aliens before a few times. He has.
He
has got people on. Yeah. He spoke about a vehicle that could travel between air and water without slowing down, which is, if anyone's interested, it sounds a lot like the Salvador Pay patents, which you should definitely go, the US Navy patents by Salvador Pay, which you should definitely go and have a look at. So here's the interview. We'll just show that now, and then afterwards we're going to talk about.
And a lot of it's bad, but here's one good thing and an interesting thing. This was in the bill that the previous administration got through in December, and it had a provision in it that started a 180-day countdown for the government to tell us everything the government knows about UFOs. That would include classified UFO sightings. Now, John Ratcliffe, who was the director of national intelligence, has said the report will have massive implications. Frankly, he said there are a lot more sightings that have been made public. Now, Chris Mellon has been on this subject more carefully than maybe anybody in the United States. He's a former Pentagon official, and he joins us tonight for a preview of what we may find out. Chris, I appreciate your coming on tonight. What do you think we're going to learn in this report?
Well, thanks very much, Tucker, and thanks for drawing attention to this issue. I think it could be profound and transformative, as the former DNI, John Ratcliffe, suggested, because in 1970, when Project Blue Book concluded, they concluded and told the American people, we don't see any evidence of technological breakthroughs beyond anything that we can do ourselves. We don't see any evidence of a threat to national security. I don't think they can honestly say either of those things in this case. And as people begin to digest that, and they are going to address this at an unclassified level, so that'll be a public statement, I think that's going to raise a lot of questions and send some shockwaves.
So they've been lying. I mean, I think we can say that, and who knows why, but that really is the question. Why? Why haven't we heard this before? It's a huge deal. It could change our perception of our place in the universe, really. Why hasn't anyone come forward with this prior to this coming June?
It's largely been a matter of stigma, and people are afraid to discuss it. It's shocking, and this is how I got involved. I became aware in 2016 that U.S. Navy squadrons operating off the east coast of the United States were having recurring encounters with these vehicles, and nobody in the intelligence community was responding. Nobody was supporting them. Nobody was backing them up. Nobody was investigating. It was not being reported up the chain of command. The Secretary of Defense didn't know. It wasn't a matter of concealing the information in the sense of they knew it and processed it and withheld it from the public. It was a matter of hear no evil, see no evil. And that's okay as a personal choice, perhaps, but that's not what you want in the intelligence community.
No, it's totally negligent and reckless, actually. Do you think that we'll find the government has physical evidence of these vehicles?
We may. I do want to temper expectations a little bit. The request from the Congress is not to release classified information, but to review all of the classified information, regardless of source, and then render an unclassified judgment based on that review. So it's not going to be a big document dump. It's not going to be revealing necessarily new videos or anything of that nature. but they will be reviewing all of the information if they do this in the manner that it's been requested, and then they're going to have to also have to address who's in charge, how are we going to manage this issue going forward, who do we think is behind this, are there any technological breakthroughs here that we should be concerned about? So there's a lot on the plate, and I think it is going to be a big deal.
Man, it's just so frustrating. I wish they'd just be honest about everything. They're still hiding material from the Kennedy assassination almost 60 years ago. It's really remarkable. Chris Mellon, I appreciate you've done so much on this topic. I hope you'll come back.
Thank you very much for having me.
So on April 1st, we're going to have a live show, and we are going to talk about disclosure. But being April 1st and April Fool's Day, we're also going to bring up the possibility that actually the government are just playing us like fools again, and that this report is going to be nothing, that we will learn nothing, and I still believe we're even set up for a trap, but
possibly, yes. They do have a history of redacted information when they release information, so how much information they're actually going to release and how much of it will be redacted will be interesting to start.
I just think as well that whatever information they give us is actually not true. And it's going to be a bit like the Roswell, that every few years we get a new story. It goes, okay, we're going to tell you the truth now.
Yes.
It was an air balloon, but it was a special air balloon. And no, seriously, we're going to tell you the truth now. We were spying on the Russians, and it was just like, no, promise. This time, promise, it's the truth. And they're just going to keep it. And I just feel like we're just being set up for another merry-go-round.
Quite possibly. I very much doubt they reveal the whole truth. That they may reveal snippets and drip feed us it, like we've said. But I very much doubt that there's going to be an information dump of everything. And the other thing as well is that the information in this topic is so compartmentalized, i.e. so few people know about it, and they're not generally necessarily government officials that know about it. They're people that work for the military industrial complex for private corporations, because they've outsourced all of that work to private corporations, because it's much easier to keep it quiet through private corporations than it is through government bodies. So again, how much does the Pentagon even know? How much is even fed back to the Pentagon from these private companies? It's an interesting question.
Very small number of people that do the contracts, and that's about it, really, isn't it?
So there could be this open report from the Pentagon and everything they know, but there could still be somebody at the Pentagon that's not passed any information from these secret programs any further than himself, and kept it so compartmentalized that no one knows further up anyway.
Or just as a play devil's advocate, because that's generally, I agree with you completely what you just said. Or the American government has seen the polls. They've seen that well over 60% of the US people believe that aliens are visiting this planet. They see the overwhelming evidence, a lot of nonsense evidence on YouTube as well, but overwhelming evidence that is out there, and they've give up, and they are getting ready in a planned disclosure that will hopefully not panic too many people. And this is all part of a big plan.
I think that there'd be an agenda, that there's some reason, like they're planning the next, once the war on terror can no longer be used as a lie to sustain the military industrial complex and the constant production of ammunitions for war, then there'll be a new threat, and that'll be the alien threat. But in order to do the alien threat, they have to at least admit that they've been not necessarily reverse engineering, but admit that they've been tracking them and all this and watching them. And then once that's then out there in the open, then obviously the invasion can come, because we're then aware, obviously, that the technology exists, and
we can have a one world government, a one world military, and we can all come together in a Star Trek-esque, happy, hugging, holding hands, one Earth together.
Yeah, Independence Day style. You know, all of the world teams up together to fight an enemy, which would be and that's how they'd force the one world government system into place. That's
the key word there, isn't it? Force the one world government into thing. So we are going to discuss all these topics. We would absolutely love all of you to come join us, and we're going to be joined by our friends from Stranger Times and Darius Lives. So there'll be the four of us there. we're going to discuss the whole topic. We're going to discuss the whole area. We want your comments. We really want you to come and join us. It's going to be 9:30 Greenwich Mean Time on Thursday night, April Fool's Day. So come join us. We'll see you then. Say something. Go. We really want to see you there, please, mate.
Yeah, see you there. That's what, yeah, probably should have said something like that. Yeah, see you there.
Yeah, shit.